Hi, I'm David DeHaas of Living Waters Wellness Center, and welcome to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host today. Living Waters Wellness Center is a Treasure Valley's largest colon hydrotherapy center and best known for a 10-day cleanse and healing retreat. To learn more about colon hydrotherapy and detoxifying the body, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Watch the webinar, The 4 Natural Laws of Healing. I was once a medical refugee seeking out how to heal my body. By the age of 30, I was suffering from numerous symptoms, including allergies, severe fatigue, constipation, brain fog, joint pain, back pain, psoriasis, acne, and eventually cancer. I spent about 20 years learning how to heal my body. Now I teach others how they can recover using the 4 natural laws of healing. Each week, we bring you the information you need to discern how you can heal your body. Welcome to the show. The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, nor to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas here from Living Waters Wellness Center on the Whole Body Detox Show. Really excited to give you today's show. We're going off in a new direction today we've not talked about before on this show, but it's one I think you're going to find a lot of benefit for if you suffer from fibromyalgia, pain, toxicity, cancer. We're going to address some therapies that can help your body get back to wholeness. So today we're going to talk about heat therapy. We're talking about 2 different devices for heat therapy, one being the far infrared sauna, and the second being a far infrared amethyst stone mat. Both of these tools I've been using since about 2003 on the sauna, and I got the mat in about 2009. And the reason why I got the mat in 2009, at first I laid on it and I thought, this is very relaxing. This will probably help our clients at Living Waters feel more relaxed when they go to do a colon hydrotherapy session. And that's why I got the mat. And then later, I got a book called 4th Degree Medical Refugee. And it completely changed my whole thinking about far infrared therapy. During this time of the certain virus out there, people are a little freaked out. Everyone's rushing out to get in line and get their vaccine. But what you don't understand, if you're one of those waiting in line and hoping and wishing, or maybe you've already got the shot, what you don't understand is how your body's immune system works. And so I want to set the record straight, if you will. I want to educate you so that you really understand what's going on in the body, because once you understand it, you're not going to get all feared up about going out and putting some toxins in your body to try and prevent something your body is prepared to mitigate on its own. And that is your wonderful God-given immune system. Every one of us has one. Some of the immune systems function better than others. But why is that? Well, one of the big reasons is toxicity. The average baby coming to Earth today has over 250 chemicals. 250. That is outlandish. That's crazy. But I suppose it's not when there's 80,000 plus chemicals that are registered, and who knows how many that aren't registered. We're living in a toxic soup pile. No matter how well you're eating, I see it every day. People come in and they've got this mystery illness, and it's because they're toxic. They said, but David, I eat right. I'm juicing, I'm doing all these things. And yeah, that's great. But the problem is you've been living on Earth and you've been living, you've been driving cars or in traffic and you maybe ate fast food at one time or another. And even if you've ate the best diet, we've had stress. So these tools I'm going to share with you today are going to help mitigate stress. It's going to help get the toxins out. It's going to help increase your immune system. And that's what I'm really excited about to share with you today. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is saunas. There are 3 types of saunas. There's the hot sauna, which maybe you've been in where they've got rocks and maybe you throw a little water on it from time to time. There is the steam sauna where you go in, it's super hot, and you got all the steam. It's kind of hard to breathe, kind of hard to stay in those very long. And there's far infrared saunas. Now, far infrared saunas are my choice. And the reason why they're my choice is because they're the most effective. In fact, what's really amazing about far infrared saunas is that the temperature doesn't have to be near as high as in a steam or hot sauna, but 20% of the sweat that comes off of your body in a far infrared sauna is toxic material. What is happening is the body is heating up. That far infrared light was penetrating in and it's moving blood to the surface. It's helping push out those toxins. Now, in a steam or a hot sauna, it's only 2%. So you get a 10-fold higher production of toxins coming out of your body if you're using a far infrared sauna. The beauty of this is that you can be in a far infrared sauna, and because the temperature is manageable, usually somewhere between 120 to 170 degrees. Now that may seem unmanageable to most, but it is really quite palatable. But again, we want to produce that sweat. Most of you are not sweating on a regular basis because most of us are, our lives are as we're going to an office or an environment and we go home and at the end of the day, but we're not going out and really getting a good sweat. And producing a good sweat is important for detoxification. Because how do we detox? We detoxify 4 ways. Cleaning out the colon, breathing, so pooping, breathing, sweating, and breathing through our lungs. Those are the 4 ways. Now, women, you got a next one. You got the menstrual cycle. Us men aren't so lucky to have that one. So that's how we detox. So as you know, we run a colon hydrotherapy center. If you haven't heard of colon hydrotherapy yet, you want to learn all about that, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. There's a video right there on the page that talks about colon hydrotherapy, takes you through a little 10-minute demonstration of how you do a colonic. I'm going to tell you, doing a colonic is super easy. It's your best friend. It is so super easy to use that most people are totally baffled that when they come in after they do it, they're like, I can't believe I waited this long. It's that simple. I just did one this afternoon before I did the show. And the reason why I did it, it's spring. And for some reason this spring, I've been out doing a little yard work and I've got a lot of dust and I've been sneezing a bit and my eyes were kind of like all puffy. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm moving some stuff out. I need to get on the bed and move it out fast. So I did. I got on the colonic bed and for about an hour and oh my gosh, I feel so much better. 2 hours ago, I was ready to go take a nap. And after the colonic, I wasn't. But we want to get those toxins out. And so far infrared therapy is one of those ways to get the toxins out. Now, what's really interesting, there's been studies on far infrared therapy. And it's very common to look around in history. And the Indians have had their sweat lodges. And, back in the Romans, they had their particular modality of sweating. And the Finns, the Swedes, they had their saunas. I mean, if you go to Finland, I've been there, or Sweden, nearly every home has some kind of a hot sauna. It's just been natural that they have those. Now in Idaho, we have another way to get some heat therapy. It's a little unique, but it's all going to the hot springs and heating that internal body up. And the reason why we want to heat it up is that's going to trigger your immune system to start producing a thing called heat shock protein. Now, heat shock protein is an amazing little tool within your body. I refer to the heat shock protein as the Pentagon. What does the Pentagon do? Well, the Pentagon turns on the armies. Now, the armies in your body are going to be the endorphins. It's going to be your NK cells, T cells, and lymphocytes. NK cells, where have we heard that word recently? Well, during this virus, talking about COVID, they've been talking about this gene therapy that's supposed to trigger that. Well, we really don't need gene therapy to turn this on. Your body is already able to respond to that. How so, David? Well, because think about this. Every time you get a fever, what happens? Your body's heating up, doesn't it? Now, us Americans, we get all freaked out about it. Oh my God, I'm getting a fever. Oh, maybe you should put a wet washcloth on and cool yourself down. No, the body is doing that for a reason, because your body is activating those NK and T cells, and those little Pac-Men, if you will, are going out and kill the bad cells, especially when it comes to cancer. This research originally was done in Japan. And in the hospitals there, they actually sandwich you between 2 of these mats. You want to go to the site, grabmymat.com, grabmymat.com. You're going to download, you're going to see a little webinar, and you're going to download a PDF called the fourth degree treatment for medical refugees. You're going to grab that. And in that, you're going to start reading. You're going to be fascinated especially if you're concerned about cancer and how quickly cancer can be mitigated simply by using these tools. And one of them is this mat. So you definitely want to go over and grab that. Watch the video. It's absolutely amazing how this mat works. But let's back to the saunas. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to talk more about far infrared sauna therapy. And by the way, got a little special this week. For all of those of you who are listening, normally if you come in and do a far infrared sauna treatment, just try it out. If you've never done one, you definitely want to do the far infrared. Come down. I'm going to give it to you for $20. One Jackson in your pocket, plop that down, and you'll get to have a half-hour treatment in our far infrared sauna, or you may get it in our far infrared mats and try those out. So you get your choice. If just tell us, hey, I heard the show on KIDO Talk Radio. I want to try it out. I want to see what that does for me. We were talking about far infrared therapy, heat therapy. We talked a little bit about heat shock proteins. I'm going to go in more than that a little bit better. I also, if you're just joining us, I'm talking about heat therapy. Heat therapy is excellent for a lot of things, including the big C word, cancer. And so if you are concerned about cancer, this is a therapy that has been proven, and it's in the book, and you want to go to the website, grabmymat.com, and you're going to get the PDF and a video. You get two things, both free. Grab My Mat and you're going to get the PDF called The Treatment for Fourth Degree Medical Refugees. So talking about saunas, this is actually fascinating. In Finland, they did a study, and the men who got in the sauna 4 to 7 times a week were 50% less likely to die from any heart disease than men who did not get in the sauna. And that's amazing. Another study in Japan on heart disease, he had the men get into the sauna for 15 minutes a day for 2 weeks. The results were they showed significantly lowered blood pressure, weight loss, lowered blood sugar, increased blood flow, men, increased blood flow. If you're suffering from ED, you might want to think about doing a sauna treatment. Lowered cholesterol and lowered triglyceride. Now, a single sauna session was also shown to lower blood pressure and improve arterial health as well. Just one session. I mean, that's amazing. Just in a sauna. There's another study done where they compared doing 25 minutes in a sauna versus 25 minutes on a stationary bike. And the effect was identical in terms of heart rate and blood pressure. This was a German study that was done. So it's going to burn calories as well. The other thing I like about it, and what you'll like about it, is the smoothness of your skin. Your skin feels so good after being in a far infrared sauna. Another study that was done, strokes. They said over 1,600 men and women in their 50s to their 70s. Beginning of the study, these researchers followed them for 15 years. The people who used their sauna 4 to 7 times per week reduced their stroke risk by 62% compared to the control group. So what is this addressing? This is also addressing pain and inflammation. One of the big things that we address here on our 10-day healing retreat at Living Waters is pain and inflammation. So many clients come to us with arthritic joints. Some of them have rheumatoid arthritis. Some have muscle pain. Some have joints or muscle tears that aren't healing. And the reason why that is 2 things. Inflammation caused by toxicity and a lack of nutrition getting to the cells. Last week on the show, we talked about enzymes. And we talked about enzymes on the show last week. And if you want to go listen to that show, you can go over to our podcast, the Whole Body Detox Show, and grab it. It's called Enzyme Therapy. But we had Miss Amy Rawls on. We talked about cleaning up the blood. Cleaning up the blood is so important because most of your blood is so turbid. Rather than being silky smooth like water, it's more granular like a real bad tapioca pudding. Imagine sucking tapioca pudding through a straw. It's not going to work well, is it? It's very hard. Well, think what you're doing to your heart. And what's the biggest cause of death is heart disease. because your blood is so turbid. But yet the sauna is another adjuvant of helping people improve the smoothness, obviously, of their blood. So that's an interesting study. Pain, chronic pain. This is another interesting study. Nearly 70% experienced a reduction in pain after just their first infrared sauna treatment. They also found that using the sauna decreased C-reactive proteins. I'm talking a lot about biomarkers today, but that's kind of interesting. You know, one of the other things they're not telling you about this virus, right? They're telling you to stay inside, which is the stupidest thing you can do. Why is it so stupid, David? I'll tell you why. First of all, the sun. Bill Gates wants to block the sun. It's just insane. It's absolutely stupid. And the fact that none of the national media and even the local media doesn't cover it, it's insane. What do we get from the sun? Vitamin D. Vitamin D. Raise your levels of vitamin D. So if you've been paying attention at all to some of the alternate media sources, you've heard people actually talk about this. You may have heard, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny or Dr. Andrew Wakefield or Dr. Judy Mikovits and some of these other people talking about this. And even on the Higher Wire, he's talked about it almost every episode. So one of the things I love to do, I challenge you to do this. Heat therapy is so important, but one way you can get some heat therapy is get out in the sun. If you can get away in the afternoon, I love to, if I can, I go out just here in the back of the office. I've got a chair I'll set up for a few minutes. If I've only got 5 minutes, I'll do 5 minutes. But if I can, my home, fortunately, is very close. I'll go home, strip off my shirt, lay down in a zero gravity chair, and I lay in the sun. And I try to get 15 minutes. If I can get a half hour, I get a half hour. I'm going to tell you guys, it is absolutely the biggest recharge ever because I'm getting this vitamin D, and it doesn't cost me a dime. And I got to tell you, I'm more productive. I go back to work. I get so much more done. You know, it's really important to understand. We've been so brainwashed in our economy that we got to work. And I tell you what, I've been living that for a zillion years. It hasn't worked so well. We work. I try to push myself because that's how I was taught. I'm sure a lot of you, the same thing. A lot of big time speakers out there talk about it. You know, you can sleep when you're dead. It's one of those crazy statements. But I got to tell you, my wife, she knows how to treat herself. And that's what we need to do. We need to treat ourselves if we want to cut the sick care costs. And why am I here each Sunday talking to you? Because I want to help cut the sick care costs. Our current sick care model, which is all it is, it's not a healthcare model. Our sick care model is out of control. It's not sustainable. There's no way we're going to ever sustain this. And I submit to you, probably my generation and my dad's generation, they're all going to have to pass away before we actually get a turnaround. Because I don't think the millennials coming up are going to buy into paying for this. I just don't think they are. So we got to look at some of these other modalities. Anyway, fibromyalgia, here's another one. Showed that patients who participated saw a significant reduction in pain of 33 to 77%, just getting in the sauna a few times a week. The other thing this really helps you do is lower your cortisol, lower that stress hormone. Now, let's talk about what's happening in the gut and what's happening in the body, because this is really, really important to understand that you've got this amazing defense mechanism. We're going to come back on the other side of this break. We're going to talk deep into this and what is exactly happening and why you need to experience this. So you definitely want to go over, you want to watch the video. So go to grabmymat, grabmymat.com, grabmymat.com. Watch the little video, and on the mat, take me up on the offer. Just one Jackson, one $20 bill. You can come in. That's absolutely amazingly. I'll even get you a free consult. That is amazingly cheap. So you want to come in, take me up on this offer, and try out the mat and try out the sauna, whichever you want to try out, and come down and see what we do. You can also, but anyway, so grab that, listen to that, and we're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk more about these heat shock proteins. Heat shock proteins are an amazing little tool in your body, and you want to understand how they're going to help you build your immune system. We're going to talk about how we decrease our cancer cells in our body. Did you know by chance that you're producing 3,000 to 6,000 cancer cells every single day? Yeah, you are. Every single day. Every single one of you listening to this radio show. It's just the way things work. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I'm David DeHaas on the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you. All right, you've been listening to us. I'm David DeHaas on the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. As I mentioned on the last couple segments, you want to definitely go to the website, grabmymat.com, and grab the video and grab the PDF file, the free book called The Fourth Treatment for Medical Refugees, Thermal Therapy in the New Century. So thermal therapy, we're going to talk about that heavily this chapter. So for those of you, by chance, if any of you here they're listening to the show today, by chance do your hands and feet get cold? When it gets cold, do your hands and feet get cold? Well, if it does, that's not a normal function to have. That means you have a circulation problem. That means you have a blood problem. And I can't show you here, but you'll be able to see it probably in the video. But just by getting on our mats, these special amethyst stone, tourmaline, far infrared mats, in 2 weeks, the studies show that they completely turned around what's happening to the blood. In fact, the hands and the feet aren't cold again. So if you got cold hands and cold feet, you've got an issue already. You're more susceptible to cancer cells being made in the body. Your immune system is already suppressed, so your chances of getting sick are greatly increased. In fact, a 1 degree drop in your body temperature shuts off 40% of your enzymes. What are enzymes, David? Well, enzymes are like little guards at the fort. And when October, November rolls around, what happens? In our climate here in Boise, Idaho, one of the things that happens is we start getting colder. So when we get colder, our body temperature is dropped a little bit. Now the bugs can sneak past the defenses. In the studies using these mats, they found that a 1 degree increase in body temperature activates and increases enzyme productivity 50%. That is significant. It's amazing. The bottom line is that if you're hot, bugs die. If you're cold, bugs win. And what the neat part about this mat is that it helps you to maintain the body temperature on your own. In just 30 minutes on that mat, they did a blood cell analysis, and they could actually show prior to the blood literally sticking. So you're not carrying as near the oxygen you want to in your blood. You're not carrying the nutrition you need to in your blood. But in 30 minutes, by heating up your body, now you're carrying more oxygen in your cells. The red blood cells aren't sticky anymore. Blood's moving better in just 30 minutes. In the other study, and I wish you guys can see the graph here, but they did a study on a 57-year-old woman, and her cardiovascular activities in just 30 minutes changed significantly. Absolutely astounding how much it changes. The first time I got off my mat, the thing I noticed was like, oh my gosh, I have so much more energy. So one of the things I would suggest you guys do is you come in, try the mat. And if you want to buy one, buy one. Definitely invest in it. I do tell you, it's the one tool I get on every single day. I have one in my bed. My wife has one as well. And I use it all the time. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you ever go on a long trip, you get the mini mat and you put it in your car seat, you get a transformer, and you want to drive from here to Portland, it's a different trip. You don't get out sore and stiff. You've got energy. The drive is a breeze. It's absolutely amazing how much better you feel being on these mats. So we use it. I mean, even through the summer, I use it all the time. I think I mentioned on some past radio shows, my wife fell 9 years ago and broke a whole bunch of bones, crushed her tibia, shattered her femur, spit out her ankle bone, had to be cleaned up and shoved back in, was told she'd never walk again. So she has some inflammation issues, and she's told she never walked. Well, she's walking quite well, but still has some issues. But that mat has literally been the biggest salvation. When she fell, I took that mat up to the hospital, and she was on that. We had it on every day. And it made a huge difference on her repair and restoration. And what do we know about heat therapy is that it also helps with a thing called stem cells. Yeah, it helps make those things work better as well. Stem cells help repair and regrow. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. The next thing that the study they did was Harvard did the study on cancer people. They said, what happens if we heat up the body? What's going to happen to cancer? Well, they determined that cancer cells are actually vulnerable to heat because a thing called the heat shock protein is activated. So what is this heat shock protein? Well, in David's terms, I'm going to explain it to you like this. The heat shock protein, I refer to it as the Pentagon. What does the Pentagon do? Its role in protecting our defenses, right? It turns on the armies. What are the armies in our body? Well, in the body, that would be the lymphocytes, the endorphins, the NK and T cells. Those are turned on. If you can imagine the little Pac-Man, if you remember that video game years ago, the little Pac-Man just munches down. So it's going to go and munch down the cancer cells. That's basically what that heat shock protein does. So we heat up the body, and it's going to change the effect of that cancer. It's going to start killing off those cancer cells because cancer cells are vulnerable to heat. So in Japan, when they first did the study, they said, what would happen if we took and put a person on a mat and then put another mat on top of them? Well, what they determined was that this is going to have a complete immersion of your body in heat therapy. These far infrared light waves are going to be able to go into your body 6 inches. So doing it on both sides, top and bottom, we've now covered the whole body. And they were doing that at least 60 minutes, 3 to 4 times a day. And in the video you're gonna grab over at grabmymat.com, you're gonna see a guy who talks about, now we can't make any claims. We're not gonna say this cures cancer or anything like that. So disclaimer. But his story is that he had prostate cancer, Gleason 10, which is the highest you can get. You go watch it. He's going to tell you what happened. He's going to tell you the results. I'll let you grab the video and listen to that. So it's also been shown that this far infrared mat improves back pain, insomnia, arthritis, neurotic pain, and other symptoms. But the big thing we like to use it for is weakening the cancer cells by heating up the body and reinforcing the immune system. So if you are someone who is battling cancer, and we've seen this a lot down here. In fact, this is just one of the amazing miracles that I see is people who choose to come, and maybe some people come and they might be doing both some traditional stuff and maybe this as well. One of the big things, if you're facing that battle, is you definitely got to clean out and detoxify the body. And that's where we are, that's our job here. Job one. We do a great job of doing that. I have seen patients in just not long start to see those tumors shrink. I mean, it still astounds me. It's amazing. But because we're cleaning out the body, we're opening up that detoxification pathway, then we're applying these therapies that have been proven, then things can take hold. But we got to detoxify the body as well, which is really important for you to understand how we detoxify the body. So if you're listening to the show for the first time, go grab that webinar, healingtheincurables.com, healingtheincurables.com. So the other big thing is that we're going to heat up this body. We're going to get things moving. We're going to get things functioning. Things are on high alert in the body. The immune system is really now on all alert. And that's what you want to do. What's very interesting to me, though, over the years, is how quickly the body can boost its immune system. I'm one who had cancer back in 2003, and I did not do traditional treatments. I didn't even have a sauna yet. I didn't have the biomat yet. I used all nutrition. So we got to get the nutrition being absorbed in the body. And what they're saying here with far infrared therapy is we're going to get that blood moving much better. We get the blood moving, we get that highway cleanup. We talked this on the last show about the enzymes. Why do we use enzymes? Well, proteolytic enzymes are really important to clean up that blood. We clean up that blood, that's that last highway to get nutrition to the cells. And we got to get that nutrition to the cells so the mitochondria can function properly. You got 60 trillion cells in your body. And when the blood's dirty and turbid, you're not getting your nutrition. So if you're spending a lot of money on supplements, the best thing you can do to get a higher return on investment is clean the colon, clean the small intestine, and then clean the blood. We do that by cleaning the liver, get out all those old parasites, and now we apply these therapies, and the therapies will work so much better. Talking about far infrared therapy, far infrared sauna, far infrared mats, and heating up the body to improve immune function. So what's really important for you to know, as I mentioned early on, everyone has more than 3,000 cancer cells growing in their bodies. We make that every day. Just the way it works, guys. Now, what you don't know, especially if someday, and by the way, you have about a 30-some% chance in this country being diagnosed with cancer. If that's the case, take a big deep breath. It takes at least 10 years for the cancers to get big enough for the doctor to visibly see it. So unless you believe it, and by the way, I've seen this happen. Oh my gosh. If you believe, sometimes we got to get on this. This is fast-acting cancer. We got to do chemo and radiation. We got to cut tomorrow. We got to cut off your breasts. Look at it. Take a big, deep breath. It took 10 years for it to get there. You've got some time. Now, if you believe it, and I've seen this happen, guys, I've seen people who are told, yep, you got 2 months to live. And by golly, right on the nose, 2 months. Belief is everything. Now, the clients I've had come in here, when you come into our office, obviously you are taking a different track, and you got to have some belief. You got to have at least the faith of a mustard seed. And ideally, if you have a little more, it's even better. But I got to tell you, I had a guy who came here a few years ago. Rob was his name. Got his videos on our website. Rob was told he had 2 months to live. They want to still do surgery. And I says, well, if you only got 2 months to live, why do you want to put up with surgery? Go party like crazy, dude, if you got 2 months. Or if you think you can buy, if you want to buy some more time and maybe heal this, let's see what can happen. Let's do a 10-day cleanse. He says, I'm in. And he went all in. Juicing, far infrared therapies, far infrared mat therapies, the baths, the juicing, the supplements, the positive affirmations. He went all in. Hyperbaric chambers. I mean, he did everything. He took everything he could. He bought himself 2.5 more years. He was told he had 2 months. And what was really amazing to us, we took pictures right away because and within 3 days, the tumor was on his face and it was shrinking. I said, oh my God, we got to get a picture of this. And by the time he left here, we couldn't see it. I mean, that was amazing. It's amazing what the body has the ability to do. And if you go all in, I don't care what kind of sickness you get. Attitude is huge. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's talk about cancer cells. This is really important to understand. So they did these studies in Japan, where they, like I mentioned earlier, where they sandwiched you between 2 mats, and they had amazing results. Now, some of the hospitals over there, they use this in conjunction with other particular therapies. So around 3,000 to 6,000 cancer cells are created each day in healthy people. Even though these cancer cells are made, the immune cells inhibit the growth of cancer cells and prevent tumor masses from growing within our body. Now, many health products promote their product as an immune system amplifier. However, unless a person's immune system is compromised, everyone has an immune system that can fight off cancer. If there is a normal immune system, it can inhibit the growth of cancer cells. So in order for the immune system to remain intact, we need to improve our lifestyles and reduce stress. I'm going to tell you, we are in one hell of a stressful time, aren't we? Everyone can reduce their psychological and physical stress by modifying their lifestyles. Like I mentioned, go put your feet in the dirt. Go ground. Shake your booty in the morning. Do a little dance. Get down tonight. You know that song? Nutritional support. You've got to have the nutritional support when it comes to cancer. Cancer cells favor glucose, sugar. So you've got to cut that out. That's really important to cut out the sugar. I got to tell you, when you first go on the diet, and if you follow some of the different diets out there for cancer therapies, you're going to be drinking a lot of green stuff. And at first, you're not going to like it so much. But it doesn't take too long, especially if you come in here and detoxify the body, which, by the way, if you're fighting cancer, you want to detoxify the body right away, ASAP. I've had people that came in here with big tumors in their rectum and hemorrhoids, and I'm going to tell you, it reduced so fast. I mean, it still blows me away. Still blows me away how fast it does. But your body, I'm going to say, your body is amazing. Your body has the ability to protect itself. So you want to come in, guys, really come in and try it out. If you've never been in a far infrared sauna, for $20, mention KIDO Talk Radio. Come on in, try it out. Try out the sauna, try out the biomat, try out both if you want to, but come in and try them out. Because it's really going to change your world and the way you think about boosting your immune system. There are products out there. We've talked a little bit about cancer today, but the thing is that you got to understand is if you give your body the nutrition it needs, and the problem is, and what really just baffles me during this whole thing, you don't see one leader, you don't see our mayors, you don't see our governors talking about, hey, boost your immune system. No, they're talking about hide indoors, put on a mask. The mask is probably the stupidest thing you can do. I get so disgusted with the mask. Why is it so stupid, David? Well, I'll tell you why it's so stupid. And I get the fear, I get all that. But the problem is, guys, is you're changing your oxygen to carbon dioxide ratio. You're decreasing your immune system by wearing the mask. Just blows my mind. It just breaks my heart. Another thing, if you're wearing the plastic masks, those little Teflon masks, what are you pulling into your lungs? Teflon. If you got asthma, you're just making the problem worse. Let's boost the immune system. Let's use these therapies that we know that work. Let's eat organic foods. Buy a juicer. Invest in yourself. Americans are horrible about investing in themselves the right way. We got so conditioned because of advertising on eating this horrible, degenerated food chemicals. You go to a restaurant, most of the restaurants get their food from a Cisco. It's quick, chemically laden food. Why do babies come to earth with 250 chemicals in them? Because of what the parents have been eating and their parents before them. And if they're in public school, it's horrible what they've been feeding those kids. No wonder the kids can't think. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're all drowsy because they drank sodas. And that's messed with their blood sugar. Now they're asleep. But listen to this. This is amazing. I think we mentioned this earlier, but 1 degree increase in your body temperature, just 1 degree. Just 1 degree, guys, is going to change your immune system drastically. So these tools, using the far infrared mats, penetrating deep within your body, it's going to rock up your immune system like, it's just amazing how well and quickly it does that. So you definitely want to come in and try it. I'm giving you now other things you need to be thinking about regarding this is what are you doing in additionally to detox? It's going to help you detox some, but you've got to detox the biggest pathways, which is your colon and your small intestine, and we got to clean the blood. Those three, as I teach you in the webinar, healingtheincurables.com. You've got to follow the 4 natural laws of healing. Clean the colon, clean the small intestine, clean the blood. We talked about that last week on the program, or a couple weeks ago on the program, I think it was with Amy, that we got to clean up that blood, and we use proteolytic enzymes as one, and we do a liver cleansing as another. So this light therapy is very, very important for you to wrap your heads around and getting vitamin D. And if you got to take vitamin D during the winter, great. Some of you get depressed in the winter. Get some of those lamps. Those lamps are really critical to your well-being. And by the way, depression, where does that reside in the body? Transverse colon. We've got to heal the transverse colon, clean that out. That's where your serotonin gets made. The other neat thing about the effect of the biomat is negative ions. Negative ions, you've experienced those by being out in the rain. You've seen the air clean up after a big rainstorm. Negative ions are produced by this mat even in the off mode. So what they do in the body though, they open up the cell wall channels, the cell wall doors. Think of a glass door on the cell. We got to get that door open, the nutrition in, the toxins out. Negative ions do that. We live in a very dry desert here, and so we don't have many negative ions naturally. This mat does that, so it's another great tool. It'll also help you sleep at night. It really does relax you. Like I mentioned earlier, I like if I get really kind of fragmented the day. I think every office should have these mats for their as therapy for their workers. A 15-minute little nap on it changes your world. You get more ideas. You start getting more productive. Makes a big difference, guys. Hey, we've been gone far too long today. I went over time, I think. I'm David DeHaas from the Whole Body Detox Show. We'll be back next week with another great episode. So stay tuned. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters, where miracles begin by healing from within.